Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video from New Wave 80s band China Crisis. And through this song Wishful Thinking, we talked about when does realistic thinking give way to wishful thinking. So trust you found that one encouraging. We're going to a bunch of guys, Mike Score and Alice Score brothers, Frank Maudsley and Paul Reynolds, certainly with the four original members. And those four got together in Liverpool in 1979 and formed A Flock of Seagulls. Now, you might be thinking, now what was that song of theirs that was really, really amazing? We'll get onto that one in a minute. But the name, A Flock of Seagulls, intriguingly, was inspired a little bit by the author Jonathan Livingston Seagull and one of the books that he wrote. So artistic people often get inspired by all sorts of things. A Flock of Seagulls were noted for their dramatic style, and Mike Score's hair, what can we say about that hair? Everybody knew their hair was a bit out there, and really just fitted the whole new wave movement really, really well. And we've got some live clips coming up in a little while, and you'll see what I mean. Between 1982 and 1995, and there was a bit of a break then to 2018 to 21. There's been 7 studio albums, 1 live album, 16 compilation albums, 5 video albums, 14 music videos, 1 EP, and 25 singles. In the early days, things weren't going well, particularly for the brothers. I mean, the song that we'll get onto in a minute was absolutely massive for these guys, and they were really riding on the wave of absolute mega superstardom, and the creative differences and all the rest of it led to a bit of a disbanding at that point. But there's been a few incantations and bits and pieces going on since that time. And it was good to know that they did actually reform in 2018 with the original 4 with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra, and we'll get onto one of the clips from that one in a minute as well. So, Flock of Seagulls, I certainly remember the song that you got to talk about when you talk about these guys, and that is the song I Ran. I ran so far away. Whatever the rest of the words are. When you look at the clip video, you think, oh, that's right, that was that song. With all the multi-artist compilation cassettes, as they were back then, that were going around, this song certainly got on a few of those, and there's been critics saying that in 1982, when this song was released, Flock of Seagulls hit an absolute, they struck gold straight away because it came off their first album. So I ran so far away. Interestingly, this could be about anything, but I think I could cite a little bit from my own experience here, and I'm sure I'm not one of the only people that feels like this at times. It might be a pub night, actually. You go to a pub night with a few other people you kind of know, and you're standing in a bit of a circle, and you don't know what to say, you don't feel as eloquent and as cool as some other people, you're wondering even what an adult does in this situation. And you think, oh man, I just want to go home or run. Because it's safe at home, right? You're in your own space and you're not around other people, you're not interacting, you can just be yourself and kind of breathe a sigh of relief. But there are other moments, when we want to run, but we don't. We kind of hang around and we just see what happens. That there's a split-second decision that happens often. Now, I'm not talking about panic attacks here. That's a different thing altogether. What I'm talking about is just this uneasy feeling that you get inside. You say, oh man, I don't really, really want to be here. I actually don't know why I don't want to be here. I just don't feel like I can fit in. And I'm sure what happens is that when that feeling gets inside of your head, the kind of a vibe gets in out, and other people pick up on it as well. Of course, there might be other people in a particular event feeling the same way. So it's funny with the things we don't say sometimes. But, this split-second decision, like you might go to the toilet and think, well, I think I'll just walk out the front door at this point. Or, another split second decision, well, actually, I will go back because, you know, we'll see what happens. And I've often found when you get over that initial panic reaction that it kind of goes okay after that. But, you know, the panic reaction can be a really, really massive thing. You think, man, I just want to go home now. And often you do find yourself going home and thinking, oh, what am I going to do now? The world is an interesting place, isn't it? And I'm sure as human beings, we really, really want to connect with people and actually really want to find resonance with other people. But we all want that, but we don't really know how to get there sometimes. There are many routes to the same place. And so when I was thinking about this iconic song from these guys today, of course, that was where I really immediately went to that spot. Obviously, a rank could be about relationships and you know, either leaving a relationship or, you know, getting into a relationship and becoming scared. And you run so far away, by the way. It's not just a little way, it's so far away. So, yeah, if you have this feeling of, you know, inadequacy as an adult at times, you find you don't know what to say. I'm wondering how many other people feel that way. So if you do feel that way, feel free to chuck a comment in the description below. Chuck a comment below. And, you know, we could get some resonance through this iconic song today. So let's get on to the clip. So we do have to have I Ran. This came off the self-titled album A Flock of Seagulls from 1982. And again, this album struck gold. I've got a live version and the official clip on this one. The official clip's pretty iconic, and there's the hair. Mike's hair straight away. Now, interesting lineup. We had Mike playing keyboards and doing lead singing out the front. Of course, in I Ran, keyboards was a prominent sound of the song. Got a pretty amazing guitar work happening as well. The bass is pretty amazing, and the drumming's all pretty good. And so, you know, these guys were very, very tight musically, actually, and they were able to just really bring the crowds along for a bit of an experience. So we've got the official clip and a live version. Now, the live version gets pretty heavy. This is an absolute live version, I reckon. It gets pretty heavy. I mean, the guitars are pretty good here. The vocals are pretty amazing, and, you know, this gets pretty heavy by the end of it. So, you know, we've got a little bit of, you know, a little bit of rock happening in this pop stuff that's going on. So I Ran. We then got another one of their well-known songs, Space Age Love Song. This came also from A Flock of Seagulls from 1982. This is a clip, as I talked about before, Reformation with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra. This is a bit of a compilation clip of them doing this particular song with them. So, Space Age Love Song, what can we say? Does love feel a little bit like it's out in space sometimes and you're orbiting around it and trying to find it, something like that perhaps? So that's a pretty amazing clip. Great to see an orchestra giving this song a little bit more life. We then got the song Wishing from 1982, from the album Listen from 1982. Again, it's a live version. Again, there's the hair. And wishing, I don't know what about, just wishing in generally. And then following that, we've got Talking, also from the Listen album from 1982. I think there's a bit of a commonality going here, and that is wishing for connection and resonance and being able to talk about stuff with somebody else. And so we've got Wishing and Talking, both from the Listen album, both live versions. These guys did receive a Grammy Award for DNA, so I thought I'd better chuck a clip in. It's just an instrumental, this one, so don't wait for the vocals to start because there aren't any. But this particular song got a Grammy Award, so it's pretty amazing. I thought I'd better get that one in there as well from early on in the career. Now, I did talk about the fact that there was things were not easy for these guys at the start, and there was a disbanding in 1986. Where there's this beautiful little series on the web called Bands Reunited, and they had a bit of a go at trying to get A Flock of Seagulls to come together, the 4 original members, and to do their iconic I Ran at a bit of a gig. Now, the first thing you're going to have to do is deal with the brothers Mike and Ali, because they weren't getting on terribly well with each other. But bit by bit, they all get together, and sure enough, they do a bit of a version of I Ran at the end. So I just sort of chuck that one down there for you as well, because artisticness, artists can be a little bit temperamental. But you know, to see them bury the hatchet and get back on stage to do one of the songs of the 1980s is pretty cool. So I thought I'd chuck the link to that one as well. That's a little bit longer, but you know, if you're interested in this band and what happened and where they ended up, you know, you might find that one interesting. So the links to those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clips, oh there we go, are in the description below. And I've also included my last video on China Crisis, so if you want to recap on them, feel free. Well, if you come back for another one, or if this is your first time, the Life Reflections to Music, as we looked at this concept of trying to be an adult in this world. I don't think I'm there myself, so you know, I may not be the only one. Thank you for everyone for coming back or for coming here, and thank you for hanging around to the end. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to 1970s iconic song singer Anne Murray. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.